Hey, ADNC family. I hope all is well. Emma Ansah coming to you live. And let me tell you, family, if you have contracted this flu that's going around, like I did, it's not a joke. It is not a joke. I will say this. I believe the reason why I didn't get as sick as a lot of people have gotten is just because I was always a big believer and still am of like taking all of the immunity boosters. It definitely helps. To those of you who have not caught it yet, please do what you have to do. Drink all your water, take in your electrolytes, eat well, move, take your immunity boosters, take your supplements, do whatever you have to do. You do not want this flu. Trust me. I'm just happy to be back amongst the living and just be back live again for another day. So thank you so much for joining me. It is still really, really freezing here, and that doesn't help when you have the flu. But anyhow, I'm here. I'm here, and we're going to talk about another very important topic: the importance of Black media, the importance of independent media, and how it can be a bigger engine than people may think it is. And I say that because we're going to talk about the ongoing crisis with Ontario missing Black youth. And just to sort of remind you of what had happened and why we're here today talking about it is because 2 years ago, and this was in October 2024, I just started to see more and more reports of missing Black boys in particular, like 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old, 18 years old. And then I kept seeing it. I'd see one or two, then see another two, and the next day I'd see another two, and I was like, what's going on here? And then I started seeing them younger and younger. So then I would see a 12-year-old is missing. Then I would see a 10-year-old is missing. And then the word missing. And I thought, I think this is something to report about. So I, did a report about this situation that was going on with all of these missing Black boys. And I prefaced by saying we have a problem because in my mind, I felt like it was a problem. This thing blew up, okay? It spread like wildfire. It was a beautiful thing to see. So many Black organizations, everybody was using their platforms to report on this, to say what's going on. Then subsequent town halls started happening where communities would get together to have these discussions. The police would come out and provide further information. Uh, you know, um, Politicians, you name it, everybody was jumping on this, which again, I say is a beautiful thing, right? So fast forward 2 years later, and myself and two other journalists were contacted by CBC, the Fifth Estate. This is, a massive, wonderful legacy media outlet, and they were doing a documentary, which was a year in the making. So they wanted to know if we can use some clips, right, that I had initially reported on in their documentary. And of course, because at the end of the day, look, when you are an independent media organization, it's always wonderful to do lockstep work with legacy media. So it was an easy ask and an easy yes. So they did produce a beautiful documentary, and I want to share some of the clips from the documentary. I also put the link to the actual full documentary. I encourage everybody to watch it because what it also did is it kind of dispelled some of the conspiracy theories that were going around. Like some people were saying, oh, these kids are being organ harvested, and there were a lot of things going around. And then there were also a lot of negative stereotypes that were also being talked about, saying, oh, these are just a bunch of bad Black boys and all this other stuff. So you really get to learn a lot about what was really going on. CBC, the Fifth Estate, really took time, care, and everything to pull this together. And as I said, it didn't happen overnight. It was a year in the making. So they really took the time. and it is beautifully done. So I do encourage everybody to go and see this, to really watch the documentary. But let us just also just look at the initial promo video, and then I'll play a clip from the actual documentary.
I'm Mark Kelly. In Canada's biggest city and in suburbs around Toronto, Black boys are going missing.
They are 13, 14, 15, going on 16. They are children.
When a mother breaks down on the phone with you and cries because her son is missing, it's not easy. It's not easy.
We investigate how young boys are exploited by street gangs, luring them into a world that can turn deadly.
When it comes to being in the streets, it's a losing game. Nobody's ever won. It's either death or in jail.
And we hear from a Toronto rapper, now in prison, about his involvement in gang life and his influence on Black youth. Don't you think you have also contributed to that glamorizing of the gangster life?
1,000%. I know this is a life that could ruin their lives.
And it's not just in Toronto. We're in Thunder Bay, Ontario, some 1,400 kilometers from Toronto. So why are so many teenage boys from the big city, some as young as 14, ending up here selling drugs for organized crime?
I don't think they really know what they're getting into when they come up here.
There's availability for you to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in this industry.
And we follow some parents' race against time to find their lost boys.
When my son's missing, I'm just looking for my son. I just want my son back, and I'm not leaving until I get him back.
Did you think your son was in danger?
Oh, while he was missing? 100%.
That's coming up on The Fifth Estate.
So that was the promo video before the documentary came out. And the first voice that you hear is from Camille Dundas. She is the co-founder and editor-in-chief of BuyBlacks.com. It's an online magazine. And then you hear from Shana McCalla, who is the CEO of Find Ontario Missing Black Boys Foundation. These two journalists are also doing amazing work. I interviewed them both on this platform. You can go back and watch the interview. They, like I said, did the work. They're talking to the parents. Shana McCalla is in the streets. She's going to the red zone. She's looking for these boys. She's got GoFundMe. She's raising funds. She, as I said, talking to the parents, and you could see that she was emotional in the documentary promo video. This stemmed from this report that I did on this platform. And I say that again to say this is how important platforms like this are, where we are using these platforms by us, for us, to speak on and sound alarms on problems and things that are affecting our community. And it is crucial. I'm going to just continue on by showing you a sneak peek of the documentary. And again, I encourage you to go watch the whole thing, but let us just look at a sneak peek of it, and then we'll talk some more.
Disappearing from their homes. Like all teens, they're seeking status, belonging. However, Black boys face greater obstacles. They're more likely to be suspended from school, stopped and searched by police, and face greater challenges getting a job, which can lead some to making a choice that could change their lives forever.
We have a serious problem in Ontario. There has been a very disturbing amount of young Black males that have gone missing.
December 2024, digital journalist Emma Ansah amplified what had only been whispered about, turning it into a cry for help.
The ages for the vast majority of them are between 15 and 16 years old. This is a problem. Where are these young boys? Why are they all missing?
The faces of 5 missing boys from the Toronto area were posted on social media. Their disappearances unrelated, but similarly suspicious. Boys who walked out of their homes and away from their families.
So, as I was saying, this documentary really shines a spotlight and really tells you so much about what is really going on with these boys. And it shows how they're being lured into this life of selling drugs. And do you know what else, family? There were places that they're ending up, like I knew that a lot of them were ending up north, which is like, for the people that live in Ontario, you'll know these places I'm talking about: Thunder Bay, Aurelia, Sarnia, up north, those places where they're ending up in these trap houses that you wouldn't like. And I don't even want to talk about the conditions of these trap houses, okay? Even places in indigenous areas. It blew my mind. I cannot say enough how much I encourage people to go and watch this documentary, because again, as I said, it really dispelled a lot of the misinformation and the stereotypes that were being touted around about Black boys, and we really get a clear and balanced picture of what's really going on. And it is a crisis. It continues to be a crisis. It continues to be a crisis, because even though this documentary has gone out, even though we've got Shayna McCalla doing what she's doing, we've got Camille Dundas doing what she's doing, and other journalists, other people using their platforms to keep sounding the alarm, to keep this information from being buried in the algorithms, boys are still missing. So the crisis still continues. So there's still a lot of work to be done to get this fixed and get our boys home and keep our boys safe and all of those kinds of things. So this is why I say it's an ongoing crisis. Let me just see what you guys are all saying here. Peace and love and respect. Hey, how you doing? Happy FPA month. Yeah, happy Black History Month. Thank you, Miss Paula Green. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's very frightening statistics. And I hear that it's similar in the UK. Yeah, it is a serious situation, Miss Paula. It really is. You said you think those cases, well, see, now this is the thing, Bree 4 and Jeff. A lot of people were saying that too, but I'm just saying that watch the documentary because there's so much more to it. Hey, Buckhorse, how you doing? Thank you so much. Happy Black History Month to you all. So just to show you a little bit more, during the viewing event of the actual documentary that took place on January 21st, we had a nice talkback session that was hosted by Brandon Gones. He's another journalist here in Ontario, and he also used this platform to report on this as well. And he conducted the QA session. So I just wanted to show a little bit of that because the biggest question was the why, right? Like, why did you do it? Why did you feel the need to report on this? So I'll just show a little clip of that as well. And then we'll talk about this further because, again, this is not something that should ever end. As long as it exists, as long as we keep seeing these Black boys missing, we have to keep talking about it. The documentary is called, so first of all, go over to the Fifth Estate. Also, in the description field of this broadcast, I have put the link there. Okay. So CBC, it's called the Fifth Estate, THEFIFTH Estate. Okay. And that's where you will see it. I will tell you the title right now. It's called How Gangs Lure Black Boys from Northern Ontario Trap Houses. So that's the title, but the actual thumbnail itself says Missing Black Boys. Okay. But it's also in the description field. Just click on that as well, and you'll be able to see it. But here's a clip of the actual talkback, just a little bit of that, where I was asked why I did it as well.
To these wonderful people, because they have been doing so much work, the grunt work. They're at the forefront of this storytelling. Some folks on this stage doing this for numerous years. But let me start off with Emma Ansah. She has been reporting on the missing boys story as a Canadian correspondent for the African Diaspora News Channel. She also reports for Emancipation Media and a few others. Plus, her stories center around what shapes lives, the Black experience, systemic injustice, and the constant fight for equity. Please give a round of applause.
For me, it was when I started looking or noticing it, it was in October of 2024. And I would see one Black boy, then 2 days later, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm looking at the ages, 14, 15, 16. And then I see 12. So by December, I said, I need to shed light on this. This is a problem. So for me, I identified it as a problem because when you think back to, well, I'm about to date myself, but growing up in the 60s, 70s, 14-year-olds, 12-year-old Black boys were outside playing. They're at school, they're at the mall, they're doing normal things that boys that age would do. So when I'm seeing all of these boys missing, I started asking questions. And so you hear in the documentary, I'm saying, why are they all missing? What are the police doing? So, asking the questions without really knowing what's going on. So I just felt a responsibility to shed light on it. So that was my why.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. In the Black community, we as Black people, it's super important that we're looking after or looking out for our youth, right? So seeing these young boys missing, and like I said in that clip, is what were young boys that age doing? Back in my day, like I said, I dated myself, growing up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, we were playing in the street, we were at the mall, we were playing sports at school, we were at school, we were doing our homework, we're doing our chores, all those kinds of things, the normal things that kids that age would do. What we're seeing now that's going on with Black boys at 14, 15, 12, 10, and here in Ontario, there's no reason why a boy, because they are boys, they're babies, at the age of 10 or 12 should be out here selling drugs. Or even worse, what is a boy that age, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, doing with a firearm? How are they even able to use a firearm? So it is a really big problem, right? So we have to now look at solutions, right? We have to look at the solutions because you've got these boys doing this, right? But they're being lured by adults. They're being, molded and taught and all those things by adults, okay? So obviously we got to cut off the head of the snake, right? And how do we do that? Well, we got to make sure that we lean on our politicians and all of those other things, writing to, showing up at law enforcement board meetings and things like that. But also we as a community, and I said this in the initial report I did, are all we have. We've got to also continue, right, to look out for our people. You see something, say something, continue to keep this going, okay? And be that auntie and that uncle that when you see a boy, and even some girls, because there's some girls that are young girls that are missing as well. I mean, this is human trafficking, period. So we need to be able to really, if we see something, say something. That was one of the other things that I said, right? And I know you're saying parents as well, of course. Parents as well, everybody. The responsibility lies on everybody, right? And I include our community in that because I do think it's important that we also look out for our people. Okay. So I agree with you there. Let's see, what else are you guys saying? So you say you remember being young in the streets. Yeah, I remember being young in the streets too, but this is not what we were doing. Okay, it wouldn't even be in the figment of my imagination, or even my brothers, or my brother's friends. This wasn't it. So that's how we know there's a serious crisis here. So you know what I'm saying? Thank you very much, Bri4 NGFF. 3 hours on. I hope I got it right. Thank you so much. So one of the other things I also want to talk about, though, as well, is on the heels of continuing to talk about this crisis, we also need to keep talking about who's missing because, as I said, we're talking about it, we've reported on it. Thank you to CBC that took it and created a beautiful documentary. So mainstream media is on it as well. And by the way, the documentary went up. It also went up on CBC TV. That hasn't stopped. They're still showing it. They're still going to schools and other events and continuing to show this documentary. So doing the journalist thing as well, which is wonderful. But again, as I said, they're still missing. And the other problematic thing is some of them are repeat missing. And that's why I'm saying watch the documentary because you'll learn a lot. You'll hear from some fathers who are talking about it. You'll hear from some mothers. You'll hear from a criminal defense attorney who sheds light on how much they're making and how much they're promised to make. You will hear from some police. So you'll get a really good balance. But so the link is in the description field, so you can grab it there. So I want to just show you exactly, as of today, who's missing now. So we've got Joshua. And we've got Javin's son, he's 15. Tyrell, 15. We got Sharia, 15. Kiran, 14. Shaylin, 14. Now this one is really concerning. This is Josiah Weblon, and he's been missing since March 27, 2025. At the time he was 15, he's now 16, and he actually lives in Brampton, Ontario. So imagine this. This young boy left his home in Brampton, Ontario on March 27, 2025, and he's been tracked all the way to Saskatchewan, but still have not been located. How does a 15-year-old boy who left his home in Brampton, and for again, my peeps that are in Canada, know that Ontario and Saskatchewan are it's on opposite ends. So the fact that this 15-year-old boy made it all the way to Saskatchewan is a big problem, okay? And still not able to find him. So we really, really need to keep eye out. If you see something, say something, report, keep watch of our youth, use your platforms, use your voices, make the calls, make the emails, make demands, ask for accountability. Let us get some legislative things happening here. We need databases. We need everybody involved. We need everybody involved. And I know this happens in the United States as well. I do know this. This is a problem in Canada. It's a problem in the United States as well. We need to be there for our youth. And, we also need things like what happens after these young boys are found or they come back home, because they are found. A lot of them are found and they come back home. We got to make sure we have those resources. We got to make sure we have options for them. We have to make sure we got therapists and centers where they can get healing, and safe spaces where they can talk and share what they've gone through and how they can acclimate and transition and, be able to get back to a normal life. At that age, they have so much life ahead of them. They shouldn't end up being arrested and being behind bars. This is not the life. I can't say it enough. Watch this documentary. Watch this documentary. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Yeah, Buckhorse, you're saying, where are they? Exactly. Where are they? Well, they're ending up in trap houses on the north part of Canada. It's not good. It's not good. You're saying, and these kids were all in gang territories. A lot of them that end up being lured into it. Yes. North America, that's right. So you said they were preyed on. May God give family strength and justice. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Our hearts go out to the families of these young boys. I promise you, you watch that documentary, and you're right. It is. We all need to step up. It is a problem when you see boys this young. It's a problem. So you said if they're using a phone to the metadata technology, it has enough to find them. Well, this is how they were able to track, especially Josiah Weblong to Saskatchewan. The RCMP, which is the equivalent of the FBI in the United States, are there. Everybody's trying to find these boys, and this boy, Josiah Weblong. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh great. Thank you for watching it. It really is an important thing. But again, back to the importance of Black media, back to the importance of Black independent media, back to the importance of platforms like African Diaspora News Channel, like BuyBlacks.com, like Find Missing Ontario Boys, Reggae Root Hub. Shout out to Shayna McCalla, shout out to Camille Dundas, shout out to all of the organizations and journalists and content creators here in Canada that are using their platforms and continue to do so to continue to shed light on this, shine light on it. Shout out to the people that are still organizing town halls to continue to have those conversations. Appreciated. Again, shout out to CBC Fifth Estate, and I don't want to miss anybody's name that was involved with this documentary. Shelley Ayers, Mark Kelly, who was the host. Mark Kelly was in the streets, traveling, talking to people, interviewing, the families, interviewing the man behind bars that was part of the gang activity. Mark Kelly. Then we have Grant LaFlèche, who was the investigative journalist. We've got Jordan Hales. He was the editor of the documentary. Edriel Smiley, Danielle Reed. She is one of the associate producers who actually reached out to me. Thank you. We got Daisha Lopi. We got Usama Farag, we got Dan Rufus, Emmanuel Marchand. The team goes on and on. Just great people that have been, putting in the work for a year to get this documentary out. Cannot thank them enough. It's great to see mainstream media identify it as well and see it as something that was worth putting out. And again, I go back to the importance of us, the importance of independent media, the importance of Black media. You're seeing, and if you haven't already, you'll see that there are some shows that are getting canceled, right? We saw that Sherry Shepherd got canceled. There's rumors, and I don't want to say it's true or not, but there are rumors that are saying that Jennifer Hudson's show is on the bubble. I don't know. I hope not. But, this is, what happens when you're in this world. You never know what can happen when it comes to the mainstream legacy media outlets. They make changes. They call it shakeups. They say they have to make some decisions, and Ben Crump couldn't have said this any better. When Sherry Shepherd got canceled, he did issue a statement, but it was the last few words that he said that really stuck with me. And he said, "We must own our stories and protect the spaces where Black voices can be heard." Own our stories, own your own platforms, build your own platforms, bring your people along. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it boils down to. And as I said, it started here on this platform. And I am happy, so happy that it has gotten the response it did. I'm so happy. And I promise you, it will only get better. I promise you, more and more people will jump on this. More and more people will see the importance of it. More and more people will be interested in what can I do? What else can I do? How can I help? That's what we're starting to see more and more. And it is a beautiful thing to see, because you can spin whatever stereotype you want to spin about these boys. But at the end of the day, the truth is what's coming out. And the truth is what's going to make this better for us. And the truth is what's going to make us do everything we can to protect our youth. So that's the importance of Black media, people. That's the importance. Legacy media is important as well. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, and I can't say it enough, I greatly appreciate legacy media. I'm just saying, it started from independent Black media, okay? And it continued to snowball off of independent Black media. And then we're here. So that's my message for today. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Yes, the facts. Thank you. We got the direct children of the living God. And you know that line in Whitney Houston's song, "I believe our children are our future." They are. When we're no longer above ground, they're going to pick up the mantle and move on. What kind of life is this going to be if by the age of 15 they're in jail and they're spending a great deal of their teenage years into their adult years in jail? Or like the young Black brother said in the beginning of the documentary in the promo, his name is O'Shea, saying that you either end up in jail or unalived at the age of 15, 14. Like, what is this? Right? So you're most welcome. And so, yes, amen. I agree. Amen. Risk management, real estate, logistics, Black power forever. Yep. All right. So you said in the UK too, this has been a problem. Much love from the UK. I hope these kids are found. Yeah, you're right. I said North America, in the UK as well. This is a global problem. And we need to make sure that we stay on this. And to the people in the UK, if you're going through it, to the people in the United States, if you're going through it, do not stop leaning on the people that you need to lean on to put some real batteries in the back of the people that need to have a battery in the back of them. Okay? We need to make sure we protect our youth. We need to make sure that they are given all of the tools and the resources and all of the love and the encouragement and just everything a Black boy needs, right? And young Black girls as well. We need to. Resource centers, as I said, therapists, attorneys, everything they need, the right education. And that's why I always say this, and this is, my humble opinion. I'll say to thy kingdom come, we need our own major institutions. We do. We need our own major institutions where our children are safe and they don't have to worry about systemic racism, racial profiling, and all of the things that may make them turn around and say, well, what's the point? What's the point if I go back to school? If I'm just going to be called the N-word all day, every day, or be, bullied and all those other things. I mean, that life might be more enticing than the alternative. So we have to make sure we have good alternatives for our youth, right? Great options, encourage our youth, pour into them, indulge their passions, feed their passions, help them, hone in on their passions, all of those things, right? A rapper and an athlete isn't the only thing that these gifted young boys can do. We have to. We gotta do it. We have to. Never be ungrateful for helping. Gifts you can pass on. Exactly, Teresa. Exactly. Infrastructure, community outlets. Yes. All of these ideas y'all are throwing in the chat. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we need. Right? So there you have it, family. I just wanted to talk about this. And again, I encourage you, the link is in the description field of this broadcast. watch that documentary, share it. I would say to parents who have boys this age, I encourage you to sit down with them and watch the documentary together. Have a family night, family day. Say, son, come sit down and watch this, and have those conversations with your teenagers. Tap into what they're doing. Find out how they're doing. Find out what they're doing. Find out who they hang out with. Who are their friends? I've said this before. Create a social media account and friend your kid if you don't want to um sneak into their stuff or tap into their stuff. But more importantly, just create a safe space for your kids to come talk to you and feel like they can talk to you about things, and tap in, really check in with your kids, check in with your teenage kids, check in with your daughters, have those conversations and let them know they're loved, they're appreciated, and they can come to you about anything, and make sure that they feel safe. Trust me, it goes a long way when your kids feel like they can come to you. When they feel like they can come to you, even if you're a single parent. And I get it. You got to work 3 jobs, sometimes 2 jobs. And, your kids can sometimes be latchkey kids. And, you may not have the time or the energy to have to spend that time having those conversations. Try your best. Try your best to be there for your kids. Yeah. Oh, you want to know what my immunity booster is? Hibiscus tea, very good. Ginger turmeric, very good. What else? Ginger tea, very good. And then as far as supplements go, you want to make sure you get the regulars, right? The vitamin D, vitamin C, B12, all of those things. Just do everything, and drink lots of water. Drink lots of water. Very, very important. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, family, for hanging out with me and listening to this. And just again, very, very important topic. And yes, Soteria, I agree with you. Our community is fractured. And that's another thing. We need to heal our community, and our community needs to really be there for each other and unify, right? And that it goes a long way as well, because our youth doesn't need to see brokenness, right? That doesn't help either, because how do they feel safe if they're all they're seeing is fractures, right? So yeah, unity as well. Yep. So many solutions. I see everybody dropping in here. Appreciate it very much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, please be safe. If you see something, say something. Please see something, say something. Look out for our youth. Be that auntie across the street or uncle. Back in my day, we couldn't get away with anything. In Ghana, forget it. Everybody knows that your mom and your father weren't your only weren't your only parents, I should say. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're there for your youth, right? You got to be. So yes, watching the documentary with your teens is a fantastic idea. I agree. Sit down and watch it. And as I said, when you go to watch the documentary, please make sure to share it. Keep this going. This knowledge is power. Trust me. So thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Again, be safe, everybody. Stay away from that flu. Wear a mask if you have to. Trust me, put on a mask, social distance, do all the things we were doing during COVID. This flu is no joke. So take care of yourself. Be safe, be warm, and I shall see you on the next one. Until then, please be safe.